وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك وسلم. قال الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أما بعد، فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. My brothers and sisters, first of all, Jazakumullah khairan for taking time off from your families and activities on this weekend. We are literally a few days away from the month of Ramadan. Inshallah, 13 to 14 days or maximum 15 days we will be in the month of Ramadan. So basically, exactly 2 weeks from now, we will be, inshallah, in this blessed month. Now, Ramadan, just the name itself, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named it, it is very munasib, it is very correlating, and it's very rightful name. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never names a name and it's wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. He never names a name and it is not relevant. He is not like us, that we could name our children, Muhammad or Salih, and he might be, astaghfirullah, fasiq. We could be wrong, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never wrong. When Allah named it Ramadan, it is very much relevant to what this month is all about. If you just look at the dictionary meanings or the root meanings of this name Ramadan, because that's the name of the month, right? The lunar month is named Ramadan. Subhanallah, I will not go into the depth of this. Inshallah, maybe during the khutab, next 3 or 4 khutab that I have, I will highlight more. But Ramadan has 3 meanings. One comes from the root of Ramadan, which is something, or Ramida actually, something that burns. A fire that would burn something. Okay? And the dalil is actually in a hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, where Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, or one of the Sahabi actually said to the people, they were praying awabin very early, or duha, says Salatul awabin, hina tarmidul fisal. So Ramida, Ramada, and Ramadiyun. These are the roots, just the meaning, dictionary meaning. So one is the meaning of fire, second is the meaning of a fire. The first rain that comes on a very dry, hot land, and it needs that. And then third is the least heard, is about the sharpening of your arrows. 3 meanings, dictionary meanings. And all 3 of these meanings are very much relevant to what this month is about. Yet they seem contradictory. Yet you find a tabad, like, wow, fire and rain. How come fire and rain both could be for the same month? Yes. Fire, that it does ihraq of the sins, of the dhunub, of your nadam. We as human beings start with our own self. We always have this guilty feeling inside us that burns us. First, I'm talking about the fire inside. Man, I wish I didn't do that. Man, I wish I did not hurt my father that day. I wish I listened to my father that day. I wish I listened to my mother that day. Or I wish I did not commit a sin. I wish I obeyed Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I wish I didn't watch that thing, something. I wish I didn't do that behind the closed doors. No one knows, but Allah knows. You're guilty. And this guilt is like a fire. Keeps burning you from inside. Allahu Akbar. Ramadan is an opportunity to burn that. How it will be burned, how it will be removed? By making tawbah. And there is a high chance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive. Because when Ramadan comes, فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الرَّحْمَةِ فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ. When this month is coming, immediately Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the angels that you will know it, you will see the effect, that the gates of mercy are wide open, the gates of Jannah are wide open. both are correct riwayat. فتحت أبواب الرحمة وفتحت أبواب الجنة. Huh? So yes, you have a chance. And that is why when Ramadan comes, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that this happens, and then a caller, a munadi, gives a call from the heavens. يا باغي الخير أقبل ويا باغي الشر أكثر أكثر. Meaning, O seeker of the good, come. This is the chance. This is the time for you to do good things. And O seeker of evil, O evildoer. To the believers, this is to the call of the Muslims. Stop. Stop. Cut it down. Stop the evil. Stop the sinning. Because this is a chance to burn those sins out. So, first meaning of Ramadan, as I said, that seems like contradictory, but they're not contradictory. You will see how there is istinbat, there is a correlation between all of these meanings. So first meaning from the roots of Ramadan is fire. Fire. But what kind of fire? A fire that will burn out all of these guilts. It will take away all these guilts. It will burn the sins. No sins will be left. Ramadan. We're just looking at the meaning of Ramadan. Look at this. Rain. Second meanings of rain. Rain, you know what rain does. What does rain do? You just go outside. Imagine you had a hot day or hot days of summer. In fact, we had some very hot days last few days, and then subhanAllah, a couple of these rains immediately cooled everything down. So a rain, this is such a rain that washes off. Ramadan is like a rain. It washes off our souls. It washes us from inside out. Second meaning. Good? So, both meanings are very much in correlation of Ramadan. Third meaning. This is very different. It's totally different from the first two. So first two are like right and left, two opposites, fire and rain. Fire, such a fire that burns out the heavy record of sinning that we had, or the guilt of sins that we had inside. A rain that washes out all the dirt. It cleans you out. You go into the rain, or don't go yourself, look at the trees, look at the plants, how they get washed, and they look shiny. There's a glitter, there's an attraction that, wow, how the trees look lush green, Effect of rain. This is the rain. We are just looking at the dictionary meanings of Ramadan, just Ramadan. Third meaning is, again another dictionary meaning, that it's the sharpening of your weapons, of your arrows. The edges of the arrows that actually pierces into things, or your defenses, sharpening them. Sharpening of your defenses, of your arrows, and preparing your defenses. Isn't Ramadan all about that? What kind of defenses I'm talking about? Against shaitan. Absolutely. For 1 month, that mean guy is going to be chained. Right? Because that's another thing of the Ramadan, that when Ramadan comes, it's not just that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah has opened the doors of mercy. Also, sulsilat al-shayateen. Shayateen are chained. Or it says worse of the shayateen are chained. So what happens during that time? That's your time to prepare your defenses against your enemy. Allah says in the Quran, Satan, devil, is your open enemy. Take him as your enemy. فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. Oh insan, many verses of the Quran. Shaitan is your open enemy. Take him as your enemy. Well, here is the time for us, Ramadan, Just looking at the meanings. I'm not even telling you what Ramadan is from the Quran and Sunnah. I'm not even telling you that. Just the dictionary meanings of Ramadan describe Ramadan exactly what it is for. What it's for. Because I didn't name it Ramadan. You did not name it Ramadan. It is named Ramadan by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah couldn't go wrong naming people, or naming places, or naming months, or naming things. Right? You and I could make a mistake. I could call my son Zaki. Right? He could be a fasiq, astaghfirullah. I could call him Salih. He could be a fasiq. I could call him Abdul Rahman, but God forbid, astaghfirullah, he might become Abdul Shaitan. It's me. Allah doesn't go wrong. When Allah calls something, Allah knows what He's doing, and Allah knows the name He's naming. He will always do it according to what it's for. So 3 meanings. Remember this. Fire that burns the sins, cleans you up. Rain that washes, removes all the dust, makes us good Muslims, helps us become muttaqeen and salihin. And sharpening of our defenses so that we can defend ourselves better when he's out in the open, shaitan. Preparation, strengthening of your iman. This is all about Ramadan. This is the wisdom of Ramadan. And what fasting does in it. Now, in this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to achieve all this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a greatest of all the worship that you don't find it in such a way in any of your worships. There could be a show off in every worship you do. When you pray, people see you, right? Most of the time people see you, even if you're praying at home, praying at work, praying at a public place, praying in a masjid. People see you. There's riyah. There could be a riyah. When you give zakat, people might come to know. No matter how much you try to hide, somebody will know. There is somebody who will know that you're giving him. When you do hajj, people see you. This is the only worship where no one knows except you yourself that you are fasting. This is the worship that Allah has given you and I to achieve the objectives of this month. To achieve what this month is all about. And Allah says that, O believers, this is what I started with. O believers, we have obliged upon you, made it mandatory upon you to do the fasting as it was mandated from people before you, so that you may become muttaqeen. What is really taqwa? People, sadly, they get into the depth of taqwa so far that sometimes our youth cannot understand it. Taqwa is nothing but to save yourself from trouble. That's taqwa. We, as human beings, the way we are created, we have desires. Our bodies have desires, personal desires, our own selfish desires, and then our desires for our loved ones, for people around us. We desire things, we covet things, we love things. To make sure that we don't become like animals, that we could do everything that our desires tell us, whether it's about our own selves or it's about our loved ones, to make sure that we don't do that, we don't go wild, we don't go crazy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a worship called fasting to help us attain that. To attain that control, to attain that cautious behavior, that whatever I'm doing, I'll take a caution. Make sense? That's what fasting is all about. It is truly a great act and practice of creating that conscience about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How so? Look, when you're fasting, you're all alone. Let's say you're all alone. You're hungry. Many of you who won't have school are like, man, that's too much. Okay, I'm going to go in the kitchen and sneak, open the fridge, get a juice or something, get a lemonade, it's hot, I'm going to drink. Then you realize that, wait a second, I have someone above me who's watching me. My own conscience will tell me, what are you doing? My own self is watching me. You will stop. Many of you will stop. Because Allah is seeing you all the times. Right? He's seeing you all the times. He's Al-Basir, He's Al-Shaheed, He's Al-Raqib, He's Al-Sami', He is Al-Alim. You can't escape that. So you say, no man, I can't do that. Allah is watching me. That's how you develop, through fasting, a conscience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without a show-off. No show-off. Because no one knows. Really, you could sneak and eat. Or drink. Correct? No one really would know. The only one that would know is you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your angels. So you will develop that conscience of taqwa. Remember, again I'm saying this, that man is all about two kinds of desires the whole life. Self, and as he grows mature, then he involves people around him, the loved ones. Includes parents, families, children, right? Two kinds. And Allah wants us to make sure that chasing these desires, we don't go so wild that we do all kinds of bad and wicked and wrong things that we are totally out of control. Fasting does that to us. Fasting helps us to keep us under leash, under control, and gives us the conscience that we are cautious, we take the precaution on every move. Just like you do it in dunya. When you drive, you don't go 100 miles an hour on Stadium Drive. Because if you do that, you will get killed or you kill someone. You don't cross your limits. This is taqwa. This is taqwa. This is piety. That you stay in the limits, and fasting teaches you that. And there's no such worship like it. Like I gave you example of show-off. One companion came to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. It's narrated in Nasa'i. Imam al-Nasa'i brought that, and he said, "Oh Rasulullah ﷺ, teach me something that a worship that there's no such thing like it." Prophet ﷺ said, "Alayka bis-siyam fa-innahu la mithla." It is upon you to fast, and there's nothing like fasting. Imagine people around Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his household and his companions. These people never fasted. They didn't know what was fasting like. Jews and Christians fasted, but the pagans didn't know about fasting. But they loved it so much that they started fasting in the non-Ramadan days also. Like this month, Sha'ban. Agreed upon, muttafaqun alayhi hadith. I put it on your prayer schedule. Not just yesterday. They were fasting. Sha'ban they were fasting. So much Prophet was fasting that she said, Al-Mu'mineen said that it sounded like or looked like as if he was fasting the whole month. Because yesterday was the 15th of Sha'ban, and a lot of people were saying, oh man, one brother, I want to tell you an interesting story. A brother called me from Detroit. He's a friend of mine, lives in Dearborn. He said, brother, tomorrow, I want to fast tomorrow, but I've read somewhere and heard somewhere that somebody's saying don't fast tomorrow because it's not right. I said, now look, I would have told him, if somebody told you it's not allowed to fast this particular day or whatever, I might tell him, okay, whoever told you whatever, stick to your teachers. But I know the guy. He used to study with me. This guy doesn't even pray 5 times a day. And I can't tell him not fast. No, because yesterday, 15th of Sha'ban, is one of the white days that Prophet ﷺ used to fast anyways. So why fighting about it? If people are fasting only the 15th, let them fast, man. Because this is a month, Sha'ban, this month, where people used to fast a lot. It's a zakat of your body. It's a zakat of your body. لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ زَكَاةٌ وَزَكَاةُ الْجَسَدِ الصَّوْمُ. What is zakat? Zakat purifies your wealth. Fasting purifies your body. Cleans your system. And subhanAllah, we don't need to give this evidence, but medically they know people who don't overeat, who control their diet, are actually more healthy than those people who do overeating. They become obese and there's a lot of problems, health problems. Blood pressure comes on the way. So there's a lot of benefits of fasting, dunya-wise also, from medical standpoint. But for those who practice some hunger, one of the don'ts that I would tell you is, don't stuff up your stomach as soon as the fast ends. That's very dangerous. It's not good. And that's why people actually gain weight after the end of Ramadan. They gain weight. Take it easy, on those pakoras and samosas and chaat and biryani and lassi and everything. Take it a little bit easy, Don't go wild. As I said, taqwa, that's taqwa. Taqwa is, be cautious. Small meals, like, okay, when the fast ends, I'll take one small meal. And then when, it's 10 or so or 11 when I'm about to sleep, hopefully, I know it's not going to happen. In Ramadan, it's easily 12. So, then you take another snack. So divide it into snacks. And try to practice some hunger. Like our companions did. A man came to Kufa, a beggar. And he sees a man working in a field, sweating. Working in a field. Listen to this story very carefully. Asked him for some bread. If he has anything to eat. He was a faqir. He says, go under that tree, I have some food hanging there, in like the cloth wrapped up. Go get that and eat it. You can take all of it. So he goes and he opens it. It was hard, dry bread. Imagine you buy a pita bread and this pita becomes hard, or your roti that you make becomes hard. What do? A lot of time you put it in the astaghfirullah, trash, or you give it to the birds. You don't even eat it. This is happening in Kufa. So he tried to eat it, he couldn't. He comes to this man again, he says, you eat this bread? How could you even swallow this? It's hard. And I'm surprised. He says, do you have anything? He said, no, that's what I live on. I eat this every day. Go to such and such house, you will find a man over there who gives food to a lot of poor, and he cooks every day to give it to the poor. Go eat from him. And he goes there, and who does he see over there? He sees Sayyidina Hassan alayhi salam. So Hassan feeds this man. So the man eats and thanks him. He says, I met a guy working in a field, and he had the bread that I couldn't even swallow. Who is this guy? And who are you? You're giving charity and, cooking for people and distributing to the faqir and miskin. But that man, he doesn't have anything for himself. Go feed him first. He's in your town. He says, you don't know who that is. That is Ali. That is Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. That is called practicing al-jud. Where do you find such people today? We don't find such Muslims today. Such Muslims are in the graves. And Islam is in the books. Islam is in the books and Muslims are in the graves. I don't find such people who practice al-jur. In fact, there are four things that scholars used to teach their students to practice. That all four of these things should be at a basic level or minimal level. Less sleep, or minimal sleep as needed, minimal eating, and minimal talking, lesser of talking, and lesser of intermingling with people. 4. أقل الطعام أقل المنام and أقل الاختلاط, and what was the fourth? Yeah, that's what I say, اختلاط. أقل النيام. No. 4 things. 4 of these things should be less. Ramadan is a time to practice that. When you're fasting, you don't want to talk too much. You will be thirsty. When you're fasting, you don't want to eat way too much. Practice a little bit of hunger. They used to fast, many of them used to fast in continuous days, 2 or 3 days together. Prophet didn't encourage that for us, but if you did that, it's fine. It's not haram, just so you know. Intermingling with people, please don't make Ramadan. And now I'm into basically, after telling you the wisdom of fasting in Ramadan, I'm into the do's and don'ts basically. Please don't intermingle too much in Ramadan. Make it a month where you and Allah is just in communication. Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam said, Eid awliya Allah al-Akbar is Ramadan. The Eid of awliya Allah, the great Eid of awliya Allah, the friends of Allah, is Ramadan actually. Not the Eid that people will celebrate after. It is now. Because they rejoice, they enjoy praying, enjoy worshipping. So my friends, my brothers and sisters, avoid parties in Ramadan. Iftar parties. Trust me, avoid iftar parties. I say no to all iftar parties in Ramadan, but still I end up going to 1 or 2. That's the max. And I draw limits, really, I draw limits. I tell people that, look, if you invite me, I can't go to every iftar party, and I might go to maybe 1 or 2, and that too, maybe in the first 10 days, that's it. If someone really, really insists, still, I go with disliking, seriously. Sometime I used to put a note outside the door that after such and such time, no visitors. Please don't knock at the door unless it's an emergency. I don't want to meet with a lot of people in Ramadan, and I don't want to eat a lot in Ramadan, and I don't want to attend a lot of parties, and I don't want to sleep a lot in Ramadan. All of these you could practice in the month of Ramadan. Many, many opportunities, many ways. Fasting is not the only one. What are the other worships of Ramadan? You could pray. You could pray at home. You could pray alone. You could pray in your room where no one sees you. Nothing. Tarawih is not fard, it's not obligatory. But if you do it, it's nothing. It's rewarding. This qiyam can be done at home also. Make sure you do it sincerely. That's the purpose. It's the enjoyment of Quran. Recite Quran in your homes. Put life in your homes. I'tikaf. For sisters, for women, i'tikaf is better at home. That's what a lot of companions did. A lot of companions. People of the household of Prophet ﷺ wouldn't come inside the masjid to do i'tikaf. They would sit in their homes. How the women do i'tikaf in home? They reserve a corner, dedicate a side where people don't come, they can still go outside and cook and then go back into their room, and they can do i'tikaf like that. Many of the a'imma of ours have allowed this kind way of fasting, inshallah. And in Ramadan, you could feed people. If you have someone make iftar because of you, one person, it will give you full 1 fast reward, including the fast that you were having. Great? Isn't that great? A man came to Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, rahimahullah, alayhi salam, and he told him that, young man, you should free 10 slaves every day. You should free 10 slaves every day. He said, how could I do that? Imam, how could I do that? He said, it's very simple. Feed one miskin, it will give you the reward of freeing a slave from the descendants of Ismail alayhi salam. Because we actually are Banu Ismail. We are from the Ismail's lineage, from Ibrahim, from Ismail's bloodline. That's what he meant. Highly rewarding. So these are all the worships that you could do. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they saw him the most generous in the month of Ramadan. Another generosity, not just food, in terms of giving wealth, zakat, sadaqat. Sadly, Muslims wait till the end of Ramadan and then they start giving out their zakat. Start doing it now. Start planning right now that who will I give zakat to? Sadaqat, zakat, whatever you can, start doing it now. It's not obligatory to give zakat in Ramadan. But remember, Prophet why most of the scholars encourage and tell Muslims that give now. Because Prophet was the most generous of all times, they say, like a rain. Giving and giving and giving. His hand would not stop. So these are all the things we could do, or in a nutshell, in very brief, really very, very brief, during the month of Ramadan. And all of these are highly rewarding. That Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, I'll say 3 ahadith in the Arabic language first. Man sama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi. Whoever fasted Ramadan with iman, with faith, and with ihtisab, meaning with the correct way. Ihtisab, you know what's ihtisab? Muhasabatun nafs. That you did it for the right purpose, was to attain taqwa. All your previous sins are forgiven. Isn't it the meaning of Ramadan? The dictionary meaning. Everything will connect. No contradiction here, inshallah. Man qama Ramadana imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi. Whoever did the qiyam of Ramadan, meaning not 5 prayers. 5 prayers, guys, is a duty. It's a duty. It's a job that you have to do. We're talking about qiyam, additional. That's extra qiyam, nafil qiyam. Whether you do it here or you do it at home. Like many sisters can't come, do it at home, no problem. In fact, at home, Prophet also told the sisters, you have higher reward. So you could do it. You did that with iman and ihtisab, same condition. غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِن ذَنْبِهِ. Third, man qama, that's the one I didn't mention. Man qama laylatul qadri imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbi. Whoever did the qiyam of Laylatul Qadr with iman, with ihtisab, all his previous sins are forgiven. Now, is it possible with all this still somebody does not enter paradise? He does not earn forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How could it be? That's why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, رَغِمَ أَنْفِ إِمْرِئٍ شَهِدَ رَمَضَانَ وَلَمْ يُدْخِلِ الْجَنَّةِ. May his nose be dusty. It's an Arabic expression. That may he be humiliated. The person Muslim, who found Ramadan, who lived through the month of Ramadan, and he couldn't enter paradise. Because he's wondering, how could it be? Gates of Jannah are open. Some people here ask the question that, wow, gates of Jannah are open. What does that mean? We're not going to Jannah right now. And the hadith says actually every day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frees people from hellfire and every day He enters them into paradise. It has an answer from the Quran. We're not going there right now. What's happening then? People question this. They question this because of the lack of understanding. So let's have an understanding, and if you hear them question, please explain to them. Allah says in the Quran, every soul is rahan. You know rahan? Tied with what it does, or what it contains. Every soul is tied basically with hellfire. Illa, except those who become the people of the right side. And in fact, if we don't do those right things, if we don't believe in Allah as we're supposed to, we will remain tied with hellfire and we will remain going on that path of hell unless we do the right actions. كُلُّ امْرِئٍ بِمَا كَسَبَ رَهِينٌ. أو إلا أصحاب اليمين. How do you become Ashab al-Yamin? This is your time. You were tied, or we actually forget what we were on. What we have done in our lives, our hands and our eyes and our bodies are loaded with sins. So much sins that if we die right now, we could end up in hellfire or in a ditch of hell, the grave. We could end up there. Unless we make tawbah. And when we make tawbah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the angels that know that I have entered this person into paradise. Meaning, for Allah there is no future. It's all present. He's not controlled by the time domain. Make sense? It's all present. It has happened already. That's why He says, I am entering. Look, all my angels, be a witness. I am entering these people into paradise. And those who still couldn't do anything, they were still losers. Prophet ﷺ said, it's a shame. Really a shame that they still couldn't enter paradise. The doors were open. Meaning, opportunities. What does it mean by having the doors open? The gateways that take us to paradise are open. And what is the meaning of shaitan being chained? It's not literal. Seriously, it's not literal. It could be literal for some, but you see shaitan, you see people doing parties, you see people doing haram, you see people killing, you see people stealing. Where is the shayateen then? Ya ikhwan, the meaning is that the ways shaitan could come to you, those ways are blocked. This is one of the ways the shaitan enters in you. This is one of the entry points. And your private parts. When you're not even having the halal, Siyam is really these two things. Refraining from this and intimate desires. When both entry points are closed, where would shaitan go from? He's helpless. He's helpless. He says, man, I give him water. Water is halal. He says, no. I don't want it. Make sense? You say, I don't want it. So shaitan is helpless. He's chained. This is the meaning of shaitan being chained. Less mentioned, but I wanted to bring that up too. That's another point of wisdom to reflect upon. Otherwise, everyone who is healthy and capable, we must take these opportunities. We must take these gateways. Gateways means these opportunities. Abwab al-Rahmah, Abwab al-Jannah. That the routes that will take us to paradise, the paths. All these paths are open. And the paths that could take us to hellfire, those paths are closed. Right? People eat and drink haram, people earn haram, or people do haram. Those ways are closed. Make sense? Al-hikmah. This is very important to have wisdom. You will enjoy your fasting a lot. No reward of fasting is mentioned in terms of how much you will be given. When you pray one prayer, you get 27 times. You recite one verse of the Quran, or one word, one letter of the Quran, you get 10 good deeds, right? 10 hasanat. All of these math is there. For siyam, for fasting, boys and girls, know this, there's no math. Prophet ﷺ says that Allah says, fasting is for me, Allah. And I am its reward. Allah is your reward. Allah will give you its reward. Could you ask for anything better than that? When you break your fast, at that time you have two happiness. This people also don't pay attention to this. One is liqa Allah. What does that mean? This is the rida of Allah. You feel the presence of Allah. That Allah now is telling you, oh my servant, now you eat. As if Allah is right now above you and you're hearing the call right now and you take the food and eat. Try to experience this year when you fast that feeling of two happiness. One is when the hunger is going away, and second is deeply spiritual. That glimpse, that moment of obedience of Allah, and you feel His presence. You feel His presence. Try to feel that. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put blessing in your fasting. Bi-idhnillah, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make you and me among those people who live these rest of the few days and enjoy, inshallah, worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala One last thing, one of the last acts of Ramadan is Zakatul Fitr. They call it Fitrana also in our countries and stuff. You give this zakat. Every one of us, young or old, owes this. This is equivalent to the 2.5 kilos. Basically, they calculate like 1 person's meal, or equivalent to 1 person's meal. So they calculated $10 to $15 per person. So if you have kids in the household and you are the provider of the family, your kids and the kid that is due on coming, if your wife is expecting, she's pregnant, that kid, especially if he's 4 months plus, and your wife, for all of them, you give. If your wife has her own earnings, then she give on her own too. But this must be given before the Eid prayer. Remember, not in the donation box before the Eid prayer. That's really, it's not going to anybody. Sure, from on your mind, you're like, okay, I've done it. You want it to go to people early, give it early. That's another way of purifying our mistakes of fasting, because no matter what we do, we cannot do enough, and we can't be we can't be perfect in our worship. We can try. There will always be something that is deficient. One of the masail of Ramadan, there are some people who are exempt from fasting, children who are underage, they're not capable, you don't have to force them to fast, but if there's someone who is 12 or above, he should start fasting. 12 and above should start fasting. This is the time. They have nothing going on, they're home, instead of playing and then getting thirsty and this and that, help them start fasting. This is the time for their training. Try that, please. So don't take it easy. Now, women who are in 2 different conditions. One is called al-hayd in Arabic, and the other is nifas. 2 types of impurities that the women go through. During that time, they cannot fast. It is absolutely haram to fast during that time. They have to make up those fasts later. Now, the other 2 groups are musafirin, travelers, who can fast and who cannot fast. There's a difference of opinion. Some scholars disliked fasting during the travel, because when Prophet ﷺ had said, لَيْسَ الْبِرْ الصِّيَامُ فِي السَّفَرِ, it is not something of great virtue that if you're fasting during travel. Just make it up later. Don't put yourself in harm's way. You don't want to have a car accident just because you couldn't have your coffee driving. But if you can, it's up to you. There's a difference of opinion between the scholars, but better is that you skip and make it up later. It's fine. There will be no reward reduction, inshallah, because of that. That's a better choice. And actually, Prophet ﷺ once showed people a practical scenario. I want to tell you a short story. 2 groups of people, travelers with him. One was fasting, one was not. So those who were fasting, when they reached their camp, they laid down and everybody started snoring. And those who were not fasting, they brought water for them, for their wudu and all that, for cleaning. They cooked food for them. They did so much service for them that Prophet ﷺ says, see, here is an evidence for you. Those who did not fast, today they have earned more good deeds than those who are fasting. See? Those who were fasting, they did not get much. They were just living. They couldn't do anything. And once, in one travel, I think it was Ghazwa Tabuk, some people were fasting during travel. And they told Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that, Prophet of Allah, there are some people who are going to pass out. They're already falling. They're fasting. And they're not breaking their fast. Prophet said, okay, he had them bring him a big jar or something of water. On top of his she-camel, he drank the water like this, so that they all see it. Some people broke their fast, and some still didn't do it. Prophet was very angry on those people who did not still break it. Remember, if you are fasting in travel and your condition becomes bad, you have to break your fast. Don't hurt yourself. If you got killed or you passed out, you fainted, you are among those people who are harming themselves. And in Islam, harming yourself is haram, absolutely haram. Whether it's all the way to the level of suicide, or to this level of hurting yourself like smoking and this and that, or hurting yourself like that. This is not allowed. So diabetic patients, I'm talking about people who can't fast or can fast, who are in the middle, here and there, yes, no, yes, no. Travel, diabetics. Diabetic people also should consult with their doctor, reliable doctor, that if I maintain the diet and this and that, can I fast? If your doctor, again as I said, reliable doctor tells you no, you should not fast. Okay? Now, another group of women who also have, this is sort of a matter of choice. Women who are murdi'at or hamilat. Women who are in pregnancy or women who nurse their children. They also can choose to fast and can choose not to fast. They have an exemption. In fact, even on the makeup, there is a difference of opinion among the scholars that should they make up or not if they skip. Some actually say they don't have to make up. They can give fidya if they want to, but if let's say someone is so poor that she doesn't even have the money to give fidya, then they are exempt from all of that. SubhanAllah. See how easy this deen is. Women in pregnancy and women who are nursing. Why? Nursing is the right of the baby. Is a right of the baby that it's due on the mother. Already an obligation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put on her, sort of an obligation. Quran mentions that. So if she's nursing the child, she's already actually giving so much energy from herself. So that's why she has the exemption. But if let's say she manages the diet, like she eats very good in the beginning, and she does eat very well at the end, and this and that, she takes vitamins and nutrition and all that, she can choose to fast also. It's not haram. Remember, I'm talking about these gray areas where you are the best judge. You judge based on your condition. But remember, in any case, if the harm comes to you or the baby, then there's a problem, So the qada and fidya, there's three opinions basically. One group says they have to make up some time. One group says they have to make up and they have to give fidya, meaning give money also. But really, the balanced opinion is that if they can give fidya, that will be enough for them. And if they can't do that too, that is still fine for them. They don't have to make up for the fasting. These are three groups of scholars in this department. Huge difference of opinion among the Salaf. You find differences in the books, and Muhalla of Ibn Hazm al-Zahiri, or Ibn Abdul Barr al-Maghribi, Hafid al-Maghrib, they call him the scholar of the whole Western Africa. These books show you all these varieties of opinions that the scholars have. So there's no fuss about it, there's no need to fight about it. One group that is exempt is Shaykhun Kabir or Shaykha, meaning people who are very da'if, who are very old. They cannot fast. If they just give fidya for the days they've missed, it's fine. And if they cannot afford to give fidya, then just increase the zikr and remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah says, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Obey Allah as much you can. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not harm us or astaghfirullah, punish us for something that we can't do. On this I close. If you have any other questions, please go ahead and ask. There's a lot of things that are about nullifying the fasting. I mean, our time is till 3:30, but I want to give you good 20 minutes of Q&A. Quickly, I highlight some things that will break your fast. So a lot of your questions will be answered. Food and drink breaks the fast. Intimate relations with one's wife breaks the fast. Vomit, throw up, ulti, does not break the fast. It does not break the fast. Fasting is broken from things that you take in, not things for coming out. Your fast would still be okay. That in fact, Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhuma, this is his saying, that fast is broken with things that go in. not with things that come out of your body. Like if you threw up or you just had something coming, like a small bleeding from your teeth or something, it's not going to hurt your fasting. Just don't drink the blood. So, okay. Cupping or blood draw. These things do not break your fast. It does not. Again, I'm saying that. So, blood donation. Let's say you have to donate blood. There's a blood drive. It's fine. If you really get so weak that it's hurting you, then you have to break it. But technically, it does not automatically break the fast. Okay? Getting your teeth pulled, dentist appointments. It's not going to break your fast. Because you see, during Ramadan, people will be asking me these questions on the run. Brother Rahman, I don't have time in Ramadan. Seriously. I avoid people. Seriously. So, don't get mad.
What about the anesthesia? You will be injected.
Yeah.
You will be injected.
Yes. These two scholars say it's okay. Many scholars say it's okay. If they give you anesthesia, it's fine too. So there's a difference of opinion, but it's fine. It doesn't break your fast.
All the water from the hoses.
Huh?
When the dentist clean your teeth.
Yeah, that you have to make sure you don't take it in. That you have to make sure that you don't take it in. Yep. Yeah, I've been through that. Trust me, it's very challenging. You have to watch that it doesn't get inside. All right. Very critical one for the married people. If someone could not do ghuslul janaba, this is required after the intimate relations. Until Fajr Adhan was called, he's okay to bathe after the Adhan as well. Okay? His fast will still be valid. That's a very important one. This is written down here. I want to tell you exactly as it is. So let's say you could not bathe, but you ate, and you made sure that when Adhan is called, you're not eating after that. All you have to do is clean yourself. Your fast will be okay, meaning bathe yourself and then pray. Teenagers, dreams. You dream things. If you have a dream and you have to bathe, it's okay. Same thing applies on you. That you eat first. Make sure you eat on time. Don't eat after the Adhan is called. Stop right away. Adhan is really easy. Allah is telling you, that's it, you stop. If you're Allah's servant, you better stop. Especially our prayer schedule, this community's prayer schedule is an extremely relaxed prayer schedule. There's no other prayer schedule. I've seen all the jurisdiction methods, starting from Ja'fari to Hanafi to Shafi'i to Hanbali, or Isna and Ikna and Qura. Trust me, where our Adhan time is, that's the most relaxed time you could ever find in America so far. So, please do not eat after that time. That's all I'm saying. So, or if you have to bathe and all that, make sure you do bathe right after the Adhan, before the prayer. So, young people also. Brush, toothpaste. Does not break your fast. Just don't swallow, don't eat the paste. Okay? Kids, some of you like it. Oh, yummy. Yum, yum. Start eating it. Don't do that. As long as you're not doing that, you're fine. Miswak or siwak, it's fine. Alright? Please don't abuse that hadith. The khuluf, the smell, that odor that comes from the saim, this is better than the misk, the best perfume. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves it more than that. That doesn't mean that you need to make sure your teeth remain so dirty that people can't even pass by you, At work they tell you, man, you need to brush, bro. What's going on? So, brush. Still there will be a natural odor, being hungry. That is the odor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like you to remain dirty, and unhygienic and making people sick or something, or make them faint with the smell. Alright? So, perfume. You can put perfumes on, it's fine. Women, sisters, remember this. When you put a perfume on your body, you can't leave the house. You shouldn't go out with a deodorant is different that you put under the armpits and stuff. But perfume on the body, there's very, very strong sayings about this, sort of almost a unanimous thing, that the women should not put on perfumes and go out with that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you beauty, and plus you add the perfume on, it becomes a double whammy. So it lures people. It's very dangerous. And fasting, we must, keep our eyes, ears, all of them fast. Imam, I'm not going to mention the name because people might take it wrong way. Which Imam said that? I'll just tell you without any names here. One of the Imams of fiqh, to avoid the bias, because people might say things, He says, when you're fasting, فَلْيَصُمْ سَمْعُكَ وَبَصَرُكَ. Make sure your ears and your fasting, they should also fast. Your ears and your eyes must also fast. Otherwise, كَمْ مِنْ صَائِمٍ. How many صائمين? How many fasting people are those who find nothing but hunger out of their fasting? If your tongue, your eyes, your ears, your body did not fast from the evil, from the wrong, there's no fasting. Don't look for time killing. Okay, when you are looking for time killing, that's when you do haram. That's when you do bad. Some people start playing cards, they start watching movies. Please avoid these things. This is going to hurt your fasting. You will see zina, you will hear of zina, you will hear bad language, you will hear music. How many things I tell you that you will hear that are not appropriate? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all. Inshallah, I hope a lot of your questions are answered, but I'm sure there are a lot of things left. Please do ask, inshallah. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم.